Welcome back to another Millennial in-depth video. If you are new here, hit the subscription button below, turn on the notification bell so you get that every single time I upload a video. So, I have not done a PCOS video since 2020, if my math serves me right. I'm trying so hard to not. Okay, we don't need the glasses. I don't want to have like a lens flare. And then you can see my pretty eyes. So we're going to do a PCOS chat, and it's going to be different and the same as all of them. So in case you do not know, I was diagnosed with PCOS when I was 20 years old in the most, when I think about it now, it was such a traumatic experience. I had a gynecologist who really did not have the best bedside manner. He was just very matter of fact, very strategic chemistry, numbers kind of person. And I don't like that. And I didn't know, I knew I didn't like it, but I didn't know all the things that I could do to get a different gynecologist at 20 years old. It was my first time making my first doctor's appointment on my own anyway. And I also made it in secret, because at the time I was just oh my God, if my parents know I'm going to gynecologist, they're going to know I'm having sex and all this. It was just, I was a silly girl. And so at 20 years old, my gynecologist asked me oh, when's your last period? I was I have no idea. They come whenever. And he's just what? And I'm yeah, they come whenever. But my whole life I've been athletic. I've been running track my entire life. And it was always, I was always made to believe, I was always told that athletes don't usually have regular periods. So that was just something I held onto, just making sure. We've been blown up by the sun very often, so I'm making sure it's not happening. So that was just something that I held onto my entire, essentially, teenage life. And so my gynecologist was just let's do some blood work and a sonogram, which I didn't know intravaginal sonograms even existed until then. So you can imagine that I was very shocked when I walked in and they were yeah, put your legs in these stirrups. And I'm just okay. So I was diagnosed. I had a cyst, high testosterone, all of those things. And then I went into a spiral, of course, searching on the internet, all the things that PCOS meant. And one of the things that really was the scariest for me in so many different ways was that I may never have a child. That was what the internet was saying, women with PCOS don't have children, or they have an immensely difficult time. You might as well just get ready to adopt. And so I started taking a lot of vitamins, minerals, supplements to help make me a more viable baby incubator, mom, essentially. And I've shared in the past, and I'll link them below, the different things that I was trying and doing. And I would go vegan, low sugar, no dairy, all these different things that every woman with PCOS has tried. And then I got to a point, well, let me back it up. As I was doing all these things, and I was obviously dating, I was in my 20s, had different boyfriends, different partners, and I always kept thinking if any of these relationships get serious enough to a point where we're discussing marriage and children, that I'm going to have to tell them that I have PCOS, and it just may not be possible for me to have a child. And this weighed on my head for so long in so many different romantic relationships, because I just didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to tell people. Of course, I came on the internet and told everybody on the internet, but it just didn't feel like a good conversation. I also didn't know the timing of that conversation. When would it be appropriate? Would it be on day one? Hey, I might not be able to have kids, or month 3, when you're a year in, when was the appropriate time to tell someone that you have this condition? So I just tried to avoid it as much as possible, or made jokes oh, I don't want to have kids anyway. I want to be the rich auntie forever. And my thinking on this goes back and forth anyway, because sometimes I do actually just want to be the rich auntie, and sometimes I don't want to have children. And then, of course, PCOS guilt makes me feel so bad. It makes me feel like I'm running out of time, to decide, where it's just you're getting older and you have PCOS. So you're just going to be batting zeros at this point. Is that what it is? Is batting 1,000 good? I'm batting zero. I don't know. Sport. I really shouldn't be making sports references because, girl. But Melissa. My partner and I started, dating, and we moved in together and just got a lot more serious. And we had to have some really difficult, uncomfortable conversations. And I'm so happy. And that's my partner. I don't talk about him often because that's our business, but I am so happy that I found him to have these conversations with, because although they were uncomfortable and difficult, they felt good once I had them. So I really feel like I picked the right person to open up to about this and explain the ins and outs and the intricacies and what happens to my body and things like that. And so I stopped initially by accident, and then it just kind of continued. I stopped taking all of my supplements, which I actually really have been thinking about getting back on them, or just vitamins in general, like for health purposes. But I just stopped because I kept forgetting, or I wouldn't take it. And at one point I was taking 6 different supplements at one time. Even when I was traveling and having to pack all these supplements, it was just so daunting. And so I just stopped. I stopped last year, and I was like, listen, body, whatever you're gonna do it. Don't do it. I don't know. I don't care. I'm done. I'm tired. I'm over it. I'm frustrated. And seeing your friends and family have children, it's just not a conversation that I wanted to have anymore. So I was just like, you know what? Whatever happens, but f- it. I'm not going to be a slave to whatever PCOS is trying to do. It's difficult to have updated conversations about PCOS when I am in a committed relationship. And it's difficult because when you make decisions about your body, when it's just you, it is your right to, come on and say whatever, yeah, I'm going to be doing this, I'm going to be trying that, I'm going to be doing this, we're going to be doing, it's fine because it's just me. But it's a different conversation when the decisions that I'm choosing to make also impact and affect my partner. And we make a lot of those decisions together after conversation and speaking with my physician. So that's probably pretty much why I haven't given any updates as of late. Definitely not since the last a year and a half that we've lived together. And that's because the medical decisions that we choose or to do or choose not to do just doesn't feel appropriate to share publicly anymore. It's like I've just tucked it back into the part of my life that I don't share online. And of course, I know you will respect that. That is just, an easily respectable thing. But it's still important to me to show up and have conversations about PCOS and the difficulties of PCOS, even if I don't share my specific, things that I'm doing or not doing when it comes to whatever's to come with my partner, in our lives together and building a family and how we choose to build a family. As far as, symptoms and things like that, PCOS for me has always been disruptive periods. So periods that are either extremely long or periods that are 2 days, or a period that will show up in January and then not again until August. So it's gotten so much better, and I don't know why. I don't know why or how, which is frustrating for many reasons for myself and for my other PCOS sisters, because I spent thousands of dollars and so many years of my life trying to do certain things, eat certain ways, and, do things to my body to make sure that, I'm in this best healthy PCOS warrior that I could be. And then last year is the first time in my entire period having life that I got 12 periods. I got 1 period a month last year, and I was shocked and confused. So that's cool. And the second thing, which I don't typically talk about my weight ever. Everyone knows like I'm a really big gym girly, but my weight, and I don't know if it's like happy relationship weight or just whatever, PCOS being a little biatch. I have been having the most difficult time losing weight and keeping weight off my body. And I know weight loss and these conversations are really tricky, and that people are like, you look great, but you're so thin. Da, da, da. I'm 5'1". I am 5'1" with PCOS, and I have been on the heavier side of 140 to 150 before. My natural normal weight is 115 to 120. That is my healthy weight from my doctor. And so when I weigh 140, which is what I weigh now, it might look good, where it's like, your body's so curvy, you're so thick. It is a heavy weight on my body. Carrying that for like my stature, and just also, you know, like the impacts of my health and things like that. And so as someone who has a slew of other health issues, I really try to keep my PCOS and my weight in check as to not create a waterfall effect for my other health concerns. So I don't know what it has been about this last year that has made sure that I menstruate regularly, but also have put on like this weight that just will not come off. So I'm considering speaking to a nutritionist, obviously in conversation with my physician. I am one of those people where they're like, talk to your doctor before doing it. I do, because I have so many health concerns that I fear not talking to my doctor and doing things like, I'm just gonna take this vitamin, because I shit you not, I have subclinical hyperthyroidism as well. And I was taking biotin for like hair, skin, and nails, and it wrecked my thyroid levels. The biotin that people take as an over-the-counter drug all the time. So I check with my physician all the time because my shit is just up. Yeah, so PCOS is a bitch. It is a tricky hoe that shows up in ways and places that you just never imagine, never think it would. And it makes life really difficult in certain areas where it should be like celebratory and fun and exciting. It just makes it really difficult. Still have PCOS. Definitely have the sonograms to prove that. I'm getting periods. Fun. And we're just gonna maneuver as we go. So that's it. That's the update. Wasn't as exciting. It's, like I said, it's very similar as the others, with just like a hint of mystery in the air. But thank you. And to all my PCOS sisters, I love y'all. We are in this fight together. And thank you for watching. Bye.